Hello, and thank you for joining me today. This is a podcast with purpose. This will be an easy listen, a simple, feel-good conversation to help you discover your true self and live your life on purpose. I am your host, Peggy Romero, and it is my heart's desire to walk with you and share with you raw and authentic coaching and stories. I have years of experience, so I've got lots of stories. Wasting no more time, let's get started. Hi, and welcome. Thank you so much for listening today. I thought I should spend a little bit of time reintroducing myself, so that's what this podcast will be dedicated to. My name is Peggy Romero. I'm not sure how you found me, but I sure am glad you did. If you're listening today, I'm guessing that you want to live a more purposeful life. I don't know where you're coming from or where you'd like to go, but I'd like to think that you're in the right place right now, and we all have to start somewhere. And no matter where we are today, we all want to keep moving forward in the right direction to the life we want. There's always something more. Sometimes just out of reach, and sometimes it's off in the horizon, but in our heart, we know it's attainable. I was raised to be a housewife. I was taught to be content with what I had, even when I was not living up to my true potential, even when I knew there was more for me. I was expected to sit and watch life go by and just be content where I'm at. Felt so unnatural. Like, should I really be okay with this? Well, for me, most of the time, I'm not okay with it. That doesn't feel like living life on purpose. There's just so much to do in life. The possibilities are endless, and I don't like feeling stuck. I love to keep moving forward. And sometimes it's really hard to keep moving forward, isn't it? Sometimes we don't know what to do. Other times we've just got knocked flat. It's hard to get back up. And then we all have fear of failure, fear of many different things, just stepping out. And then we all have this comfort zone, and we love to stay in our comfort zone. It's easier to stay put right where we're at, even when we're not very content there. Isn't it funny how the comfort zone we live in really isn't all that comfortable? This podcast is about stepping out of the comfort zone, finding your purpose, staying connected to your heart, and moving forward. And that means moving forward with whatever you want to do in life. Maybe it's big steps, maybe it's little. It's whatever you want. Maybe you want a better relationship, perhaps a better job. Or maybe you have a great job, but you just don't like where you work. A better relationship with our spouse or our kids. Or maybe you're just looking for a relationship or a spouse. The thing is, it doesn't matter what you want or where you are today. And I know it's cliche, but today really is the first day of the rest of your life. What are you going to do with it? You get to write the next chapter. The beautiful thing about it is, whatever you imagine for yourself, you can have. So I dare you, dream big. You know, I never worked on myself. I never spent any time on personal development. Of course, I tried to be a better person. I've always wanted to be a good person. I always wanted to make sure I get to heaven. I want God to say, well done, good and faithful servant. But personal development, I didn't even know what that was. I thought it was kind of new age stuff for people who don't even believe in God. And I guess I kind of thought it was sinful. But being the best me, come on, how can that be sinful? God wants us to all be the best person we can possibly be. Like I said, I was raised to be a housewife. I had a shotgun wedding when I was 18 years old, and I had my beautiful daughter, and then I had a son. Unfortunately, I was married to an alcoholic who just didn't really want to grow up. I haven't talked to him in years, but I assume he's probably a 60-year-old man that never grew up. I'm hoping for better than that for him. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But for some reason, I think that if he really did start facing his demons and wanted to straighten up his act, we'd have heard from him by now. I could be wrong. I have no idea what's happened to him over the last 35 years. I don't even know who he is anymore. We broke up so long ago. And it was a long time ago. I was 27 years old, and I was desperate to be a good mom and take care of my kids after having not worked for the 10 years I was married. In fact, the jobs that I had were at McDonald's, babysitting, and I was a delivery driver for a blueprint shop. But I wanted more than that out of life. I just wasn't so sure that I was worthy or deserving of it. Hairdressing school was quick, and the lady who cut my hair offered me a job. So yay, I had a job. All I had to do was get my license, so I did. A few years later, I got married again, and I had my beautiful daughter, Kimberly. but he died at a very young age. So here I am again, single mom, but now I have 3 kids. I worked and went to school, and I got a bachelor's degree. Still, I wanted to be a nurse or a teacher or something professional. Back then, you had to have straight A's in science to get into nursing school in Portland. And I'm a good student, but not so much a perfect student in science. Didn't think I could pull A's. So I wanted to be a teacher. And I had volunteered at a school for 3 years that my daughter was in, 3 days a week, only to find out that the principal only hired from a different expensive liberal arts school and that I could never get a job there. So then I thought, well, I'm not going to go get my master's degree in teaching if it's that hard to get a job here. I didn't want to move away from Portland at the time because my friends and family were there and I needed the support. So I bought an all-state agency. I think that was the best decision I ever made. I loved my agency, but I was under so much stress. I had employees and all these demands from the company and then all these clients to deal with and trying to keep people happy, still being a mom, a grandma, and all these things. And I had not learned to master my stress at all. I couldn't manage. I was a wreck. I couldn't sleep at night. I gained 70 pounds. I was eating awful. I was in terrible health. I was doing great according to the numbers, but boy, I'd let myself go. I was so unhappy on the inside. I felt like such a failure. I didn't even know who I was anymore. So I sold the agency. Well, thank heavens, in 2019, I started working with Bill Courtwright, who's the founder of Stress Mastery. My sister had been encouraging me to talk with him for years when I still had the agency. But I was so stressed out, I couldn't even manage life. I felt far too busy to add personal development to my daily struggles, to my daily to-do list that was already a mile long. If I had, I know now everything would have been different, but I certainly couldn't see it at the time. I had sold that agency in Portland that was my bread and butter. I was actually thinking that if I sold the agency, I wouldn't be stressed out anymore. I took the stress as the problem, but really, it wasn't the agency that stressed me out. It was my way of dealing with the stress that kept me stressed out. We're all going to have stress coming at us every day. I mean, life's life. We're all going to have it. So we need to learn how to master stress. I wasn't living back then. I was just getting along day by day. Everything to be happy about, more than I'd ever dreamed of having, and yet so discontent, so stressed out, so snappy, edgy, even unkind. And I'm not an unkind person. Well, by heart, but I really was unkind then. But thanks to Bill, I learned to name my ego. You know that voice in your head that won't shut their mouth. It just goes on and on and on and on incessantly. They say we have like 50,000 thoughts a day, and they're the same ones over and over. For me, it's the voice that tells you, oh, go ahead, you deserve it. Eat the cookie. And then it's also the same voice that says, why'd you eat the cookie, fatty? You know, you're never going to lose weight if you keep eating cookies. That's what you always do. You can't follow up on anything. Hey, you guys know that voice? Because we all have it. I don't know what yours says about you, but I always felt like I had an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other. And I guess it's because I did. I believe we all do. But that voice is just telling you stories. They're not true. They're stories about the past, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and stories about the future, all those what ifs and all your reasons for not trying. But they're all just stories. The only thing that really matters is what's happening right now. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday, and it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. You stay focused. You set your course. I learned that from Bill. I also learned the let go technique. I heard him tell me so many times about the states of energy and how to raise them up. You know that feeling that you have when somebody walks into the room and everybody is happier because they're there? They bring up the energy in the room. And you know that same thing when somebody walks in and sucks the life out of your room? Yeah, that's also energies. The really cool thing about it is we get to decide what our energy is. We just have to stay aware of it. We'll be in charge of it all day, every day. It's amazing. As I learned the let go technique and how to let go of those stories that kept me down, kept me stuck, reliving my past for all those years, I began to feel better just letting it go. I caught on and I practiced Bill's techniques. Stress mastery changed my life completely. Looking back, I realized what really changed was that he taught me to accept myself, to just be content with who I am, to forgive myself for the mistakes I've made, And I learned to love myself for the first time ever. That made me a completely different person from that fearful, unworthy person that I always had been, in my head anyways. I was no longer living with those limiting beliefs. I stepped out of that life that I'd been living for so long because I was no longer that old Peggy. Life felt brand new. I had another chance. After a year or so of finishing up coaching with him, he offered to train me as a coach. Wow, he saw potential in me. This is amazing. I couldn't believe it. I was going to get to help people too. I was going to learn to teach people these fabulous techniques. They helped me so much, and now I can help other people not be so stressed out. Oh my gosh, amazing. What a wonderful life. And then about a year and a half ago, he stepped it up again and offered me to do the Saturday podcast. So I've been the proud host of the Stress Mastery Saturday edition podcast for quite a while, and I loved every minute of it. I started my website, my Facebook and Instagram, probably a year and a half ago. Peggy with Purpose, and you can also find me at peggyromero.com. It's my desire to help you, to become who you are really meant to be, to live on purpose, to be connected enough to your heart, to know who you really are. I can help you have more confidence in yourself, to put the past behind you, to let go of who they told you you are and told you who you should be. Because you see, it doesn't matter who you were raised to be. It doesn't matter what people expect you to be right now. What really matters is that you're true to yourself. The more connected you are to your true self, to your soul, to your Holy Spirit, the better person you're automatically going to be, because it's you. And it can be a tough road because people are going to want you to stay the same. We can't help it. They love you the way you are. People just don't want us to change. Our ego, that voice in your head, it really doesn't want you to change. The more you're aware of the ego, the less power it has over you. But if you'll stick with me, I can help you. It's not only my purpose, but it's my heart's desire to raise up the energy of people around me, and that includes you. I hope you'll give me a chance. I'll be there for you. So please follow me, Peggy with Purpose, on Instagram and Facebook, my website, Peggy with Purpose, or you can find me at peggyromero.com. There you will find the Let Go technique, more information about the ego, and there's also an easy exercise for finding your purpose. This exercise will make it so much easier for you to understand who you are and why you do the things you do. For me, it was like, oh, I see. I get it. I couldn't really help it. I also have delicious, easy to cook recipes that are healthy. And what I think might also be very helpful for you is my old podcasts are in there. Lots of them are pretty good. Now, Bill Courtwright is no longer doing the Stress Mastery podcast, but at this time, the link to his podcast is on my website as well. You guys, he's a genius. Listen to the podcasts. They are so good, and he has helped so many people with his message. And the more people who know the message, the higher energy we'll have. The higher energy we have, the higher wake we'll put out. So we'll be bringing higher energy to other people. And this way, we can all be a part of creating a shift in the planet. Just a little bit more awareness to our true self, a little bit more connected, a little bit more peaceful than what we've been, really will change things. So please share this with your friends and follow me on my journey. I'm so happy that you found me today. And by the way, I hope you like my little theme song because I wrote it when I was 12. And I thank you guys. I hope that you enjoy my podcast. And if you want to hear more about my life, I did write a book and published it. It's called Finally, Becoming Who You Were Always Meant to Be. You can request it on my website. I'll send you a signed copy. Or you can buy it on Amazon or other booksellers. Thanks for listening. See you soon.